Oh, I think
Oops.
notorious internet is acting up again.
It surely is, and is yours a little bit. But
Uh,
it is okay. We are here.
we're here.
We're
It's
here.
back.
Yeah. What's the story, bud?
Not much. I think this is episode what 16 now at this stage.
16, yes.
We're nearly of two more, and we're legal age. And you are everything. Drink, boat. Yeah, pretty cool.
It is pretty cool. Unless you were drinking out in the field or something, you know.
Well, then you would be 16. Like we're at that awkward stage now.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. Getting up in the middle of the night, sneaking out with Jason and Declan. You know who you are. Walking
Yeah.
around the streets of Dunlavin, drinking cans.
Jason's just a bad influence.
I'm telling you, those two Lawler lads. Damn, now everyone knows second name. God damn
Google him.
it. uh,
Oh, it's good to be back. We didn't get around to it last week, but we got around to it this week, which is
Yeah.
good.
yeah. It's taking part that counts.
Had to work. Yeah.
Yeah. Got to put bread on the table and diesel in the car and all those adulting things.
Yeah, you see, you wanted responsibility and more money. You should have stayed an underpaid schlub just like me. That's it. Monday to Friday, 9 to 5. Nobody calls me after that, and that's it. It's great. Nobody knows.
Do you see these bags? They're worth it.
Yeah, I because I was on parental leave and I have a few days off, you can kind of see where my beard has not been maintained on the 3 days.
Yeah.
And you had the absolute gall to call me like some hairy hooer one day, but
I did actually.
it fucking did.
And I don't take it back either.
No, I was just commenting before we started recording that you look like the Elvis edition of Where's Waldo. So it's just I think it's
Slick hair.
I've got my touche in. So
Yeah, I just fresh from the shower now. In fairness, I'm in a different location now today because the kitchen is currently being used. So I'm in the living room, which is strange. I've never recorded the podcast in here before. So
I'm in my back bedroom, which is as I told you before, the storage room for all
everything.
of the accumulated crap that I have as being a married life with kids. I can see the little baby chair that you'd have the first 3 or 4 months of a baby's life. The little chair that after 4 months he's just too big for.
Oh, God, yeah.
Fiery stuff. And a Moses basket over there. So
we have one of those rooms. We can't get into it though because it's so small. It's literally just stuff packed up on top of each other. You can just about step in the inside of the door and look around. If you don't see it, it's not there. It probably is there, but it's just underneath everything else,
You would literally have to disassemble the entire room to get that one thing you want. It's not worth it.
It's not going to happen. No. Not going to happen.
I wanted to start this episode off on a really, really, really funny high note. I was watching Lower Decks. I can't remember which episode it was because it was a week and a half ago. If somebody hadn't been working, you could have,
Let's do my essay, which I got in on time.
Academic study, trying to better yourself. This is more important. Okay, what we have here is important. I was watching Lower Decks. Now I don't usually watch it, but I was watching it. I kind of jumped in. It's not something I watched from the first episode. I just jumped into it at any random episode online. I was diving on that one, and it just happened to be. It was very, very funny. And at the very end of the episode, Q shows up in it, and the titular characters of Lower Decks have all had a really hard day. A lot of shit has gone sideways for them. They got beaten up and everything else. And then Q shows up on his little hovering chair, and he goes, never engine, and they're like, "Fuck off, Q. We don't need your bullshit right now. Go bother Picard." And he's like, "Oh, not Picard. He just quotes. He's boring. He just quotes Shakespeare at me." It was the funniest thing I'd ever seen.
Did they actually say "fuck off"?
No, well, no, but no. Get lost, Q. We're not having time for your crap. That kind of thing. But it was actually the guy who played Q. It was John DeLance.
Savage.
Doing the voice of him. Cool. Oh no, Picard's boring. He just quotes Shakespeare all the time.
It's true though. It's very true. And then did you watch the trailer for the new Picard series?
I did. That was the one I told you about.
The one you were telling me about in the last. Yeah. Yeah, I watched it. It's very good. It's very cool.
I might, but like I said, I haven't watched Star Trek Picard at all, so
No,
I
I
don't
think
really.
I think we both have watched about 3 episodes, and it's not bad. It's pretty decent. I hadn't watched Star Trek in a while now, and I watched because I rewatch everything, and
Mm.
I'm back rewatching Next Gen, so I'm on season 2, and do Chief O'Brien on DS9 is Chief of Operations. He doesn't have a, not a title. He doesn't have a. He's not a lieutenant. He's not an ensign.
Yeah,
You
he
know,
has. He's kind of what you would call it. It's kind of like
petty officer.
yeah, it's kind of one of those things. Like I mean, having been in the reserve defense forces before, I'm aware of certain ranks
Yes.
in the infantry that are they're above the basic soldier. So you start off with like private, then you got corporal, then you got sergeant, and there's grades of sergeants all the way up to company sergeant, which is basically an officer in all but name. You know what I mean? He's the company sergeant is the highest NCO you get in our defense forces anyway, and then after that it's first lieutenant, second lieutenant, that kind of
For
thing.
those who don't know what NCO is, what is an NCO?
Non-commissioned officer.
Yeah, and that's what he was.
You have officers that are not commissioned. There's commissioned officers are lieutenants and captains and majors and commandants and all that kind of thing. And then you have non-commissioned officers, which will be corporals, sergeants, and the various degrees of sergeants. So you've got sergeant, you've got quartermaster sergeant, you've got company sergeant, you've got sergeant majors, that kind of thing.
Perfect.
So I think, and even on Chief O'Brien's insignia, you can see there's 3 stripes.
Yeah.
If you look at some of the episodes, he has 3 stripes. So I think he is an NCO. He's a chief of operations.
Because he always said that as well, didn't he? He said that I didn't go through Starfleet. I just joined up. He didn't go to the academy.
Oh yeah, and he served. He got battlefield promotions through, and he said, "I'm not an officer." He even says that in one or two episodes. I'm not an officer.
Yeah, because when Nog becomes an ensign, he's like, you have to take orders from him.
Yeah.
He's higher ranked. But the reason why I bring it up is because in one of the episodes I watched, he was a lieutenant. He had 2 pips.
Oh yeah, in one of the he was wearing a red uniform, wasn't he? In one of the early on the
No,
parade.
he was wearing a gold uniform. This is season 2, so this was obviously after Farpoint. And
Okay.
he was the transporter chief, and he had 2 pips, and Worf and Riker were beaming down. I can't remember what episode it was. Season 2, obviously. I think it's episode 3 or 4, and they called him lieutenant. And and then I paused it on his collar, and you could see he had 2 pips.
Oh wow.
Interesting. Yeah. So I don't. I must. There's definitely something behind it, and
Yeah.
the geeks, the proper nerds of Star Trek will have the reason why he isn't a lieutenant on DS9 or whatever. So I need to look that up. I just thought it was interesting, and it popped into my head because I know we talked about it before.
Yeah.
Back when we were working together.
On DS9, he does have a pip
Yeah.
and the 3 on his thing. So I mean, Nog wouldn't be outranking him. He would outrank Nog because he still has that 1 pip plus the 3 stripes. It's kind of like a lance corporal has, in the British Army has a 3 stripes of a sergeant, but also something else above it to show that you're a higher. An ensign is fairly low rank in the Navy, in the the space Navy as well.
Yeah.
Space Force.
Interesting though, because if you look at Worf, because he was a lieutenant as well, and he had the 2 pips, so it was interesting. I just forget, and I'm listening to the podcast, the Delta Flyers with the 2 lads for Voyager, and it's brilliant. I love it. It's really good.
I've been still stuck into I listen to Joe Rogan on Spotify when I'm at home doing the dishes or cooking, and I can watch the little video. So I put it into my bowl, and I can actually watch the video because they have it up on Spotify as well. And then when I'm driving, I put on actually Jordan Peterson.
Jordan Peterson, is he the Canadian lad you're telling me about before? No.
Psychologist, or psychotherapist, whatever.
Psychotherapist, yeah. I've heard he's pretty good. I've never listened to him now, but
he's interviewing interesting people as well, so they're pretty cool. Yeah. But I can listen to them on Podbean with my headphones on and drive.
And you're just driving, yeah.
Because one of the things that has been one of the things I wanted to mention outside of my funny thing about Lower Decks was that I don't know what it is about. The radio always has COVID on news and everything else, and talk and all that kind of thing. Joe Duffy is insufferable. I can't listen to him. And now news talk, I swear to God, it's so they've changed in the last 6 months. I don't know what is it. You don't listen to News Talk Radio. You usually listen to.
No. I usually do. I haven't listened to him now in a few weeks, and I miss him now. In fairness, but
it's that's because of where you're working now. It's a lot.
It is. I just don't have the time.
I can't commute anymore.
Yeah.
But it's still the same. But like, I don't know what it is about News Talk Radio. It's changed a little bit in that it's very clickbaity now. I mean, lot of the things they talk about were like today. One of the whether you, I mean, who really cares about this topic? It was like, I think for what was his name, Philip. You remember in England he died.
Yes.
The Queen. Yeah. Right, he died, and I think as a mark of what do you call it, something or other, that the flag in Dublin was lowered to half mast. You know, and it's like I neither know, I've no care either way. But it was, you know, it was literally, how do you feel about this? You know, 30 cent a text or, you know, €1 a minute call and let us know. And then you had, we're a Republic, and other ones were like, and it's just like, you knew
they're
it was
tapping into a specific niche of people.
Yeah, it's like when you put up a YouTube video and the caption or the picture for the YouTube video is two lads going,
yeah.
So people are going to click on it. It really is just for,
completely. It's just to get the ranters on to plug up the airways with this kind of stuff, and it gets people going. It stirs. Yeah.
Well, the money that comes in from that, like.
Yeah, I was only reading there earlier today that Sinn Féin leader Mary Lou has apologised for the assassination of Lord Mountbatten, wasn't it?
Oh yeah, Mountbatten. Yeah, he was killed
back in the day. Yeah, he would have been an uncle or no, a nephew.
If you've ever watched on Netflix The Crown,
never. No.
Well, if you were to watch that, right, you would see Mountbatten is actually in it. There's a part where Philip is in Germany going to the funeral during the World War II, I think, and he's a young teenage boy, and he's following behind the funeral thing. Mountbatten is with, I think he would have been Philip's uncle or something like that, or and I think that kind of thing.
But yeah, it just comes out now, he apologizes, and then I read on it, and she goes, "Oh well, the British soldiers, did a lot of," and it's just like, will you just? Why do you need? You're just said something really good, fair play to you, and then you just bring up all this other shit. It's just like,
look, it's always funny, like two different groups that hate each other are like, well, they fucking started it,
exactly, yeah, it's just
shit, but they fucking did bad shit as well, and it's just
yeah. I don't know. Move on, exactly. No,
be adult, admit you are both wrong, and just fucking move on. Like,
yes, absolutely.
Yeah, that was why I've been listening to Jordan Peterson, because I literally used to enjoy a higher caliber of intellectual conversation on the radio, and News Talk Radio has gone down.
Which is odd, because usually it would be quite.
Now, in the morning, you've got Ciara Kelly, or Dr. Ciara Kelly, and Shane Coleman, and they actually are okay. And I do enjoy Kieran Cuddihy in the afternoon, evening. Like,
yeah.
If I'm driving the bus or whatever for work, I listen to. Oh God, what's the name of that guy? He used to be on that late night TV show on RTE called "Don't Feed the Gondolas."
I know the show, but I wouldn't know. I might.
God, I'm talking about, yeah. I can't remember his name. Anyway, but he does Beyond. And he has really funny facts and all that kind of stuff. And he's really cool. But it's getting very clickbaity. I mean, now sometimes when I'm driving to work, I get onto the motorway and it's like, which sweets did you enjoy when you were a child? Text us in at 30 cents a text to tell us what your favorite sweets were. You're just like,
it's more like daytime stuff. Like, Dermot and Dave on Today FM. That's kind of stuff that they would do, and it's fun. It's stuff you listen to in the background when you're working.
Yeah, I expect it from Dermot and Dave, not from
not from a news talk, station where it's specifically to talk about current affairs and all that kind of stuff.
You're on. I do catch up on the news of the day with them, because they do have, like, the Taoiseach or the Taoiseach on to talk about when is Ireland opening up because of COVID in July. Like, what I mean? They do have them on, and they do have government ministers on, and it is interesting. But yeah, no, I've been listening to podcasts just because. They annoy me.
Yeah, no, true. I'm only kind of really being a sort of a podcast creator. I've only really started getting into podcasts and listening to it over the last few months. I tried it ages ago and I never really got into it, and I just the Delta Flyers are very good. Just listening to the experiences they have and stuff. I was listening to a history one,
Mm.
but then I kind of looked up a bit of information about the chap, and he's not really an historian. He's just more of a self-taught kind of a guy. So he doesn't have
Yeah,
any qualifications, or not that they're the be all and end all of stuff, but
yeah,
it would add a little more credibility, I suppose, if he had that. But
yeah.
I actually can't remember what the fucking name of it was.
There's a good one on Podbean,
It's on
which is
Spotify. It's what the
on
fuck?
Spotify.
No, not the History Boys. I'm looking it up here, so I am. The Weekly Planet. No, it's gone. I don't
Mm.
know. Anyway, it's something like that, but it's quite good of what I listened to, but I don't know.
Yeah,
And when we were chatting there with the Duke, it's the Duke of Edinburgh. I'm not mad into the Royals or anything like that, but I'm fascinated by the history.
yeah,
Because he was what, 99? He was almost 100. So he lived through two world wars, and if you actually, read about his life. He was brought up in Greece. They had to flee because the Greek government or whatever was overthrown, and his mum then and him had to flee. I think he was only like 7 or something, so he was very young. Obviously he spent his life growing up in probably the lap of luxury. And in fairness, it did say, oh, he was poor or whatever, and they had to go from family to family. But sure, all his family probably lived in fucking palaces and all this kind of stuff. Anyway, but a
rich.
fascinating life nonetheless.
It was rich people poor.
Yes, exactly. Um, and then I read that all his sisters basically married Nazis.
Yeah,
Um, yeah. And then what was it? His mum kind of went a bit nuts. In fairness, she had a bit of a rough time, and she ended up being committed for like 2 years, and then she became a nun.
yeah.
But it was really nice at the end of it. At the end of her life, I think she ended up living with him and the Queen,
Oh,
and they looked after her until she passed away, which was really sweet. And again, I'm not bad into the royals. I don't see the point of them really, but I just love the history. And apparently, the Queen and him were very distant cousins. But sure,
yeah.
that's the territory that you're in. That's what you gotta get.
I was just going to say that when you said that his mum had mental illnesses there, and I was just like, well, that probably explains why she had mental illnesses. They're a fairly incestuous bunch, the European royals. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, not exactly the whitest gene pool.
No. Look. But yeah, fascinating nonetheless.
So, so basically, you're telling me a poor Greek immigrant who came to England to live off of social welfare brought his mother over to live with his English wife. Is that what you're telling me? And
Yeah.
and she sponged off of the English taxpayers then as well
Yeah.
in social housing. Okay, well that I understand that. That seems fine.
Social housing, Buckingham Palace, or wherever it was that they were living.
It's a taxpayer funded, my friend. It is social housing.
Oh God.
Yeah,
Uh
when you think about if you're 99 years old, you could live through two world wars and the invention of the airplane, the
space
fucking
travel. Well,
the computer. I mean, it's like,
exploration.
yeah. I mean, what's mad is that I was listening to a comedian and he was talking about the Americans and he was saying about he said he's an American himself and he was saying if you brought Thomas Jefferson back today because they were talking about the Constitution, he'd be like, dude, I wrote that thing with a feather. You didn't change anything.
Yeah.
But he said it's only about 5 or 6 people ago.
Yeah.
No, if a person lived to be 100, it is only 3 or 4 people ago. I mean, it's crazy.
When you
It's
think of it like
what
that,
eight.
yeah.
We'll be realistic and say it's 8 generations. That's
Mm.
only people ago. They were running around with muskets.
Yeah. It's not very long ago at all. We've advanced so much in the last 200 years.
right clapped down with a feather. It's just
Yeah. Now we don't even use pens anymore. What are you drinking? Coke?
yes.
Nice.
And
I'm not drinking any.
brown sugar water. There you go.
Very good.
I was gonna say that this month of April I got a free game on my PlayStation.
Oh,
Days Gone.
Days Gone.
It's a zombie apocalypse survival one, and it's like
Right
you
up your
remember
street.
you remember World? Oh yeah, definitely up my street. I'm in love with it. I mean, it's not something I usually like. It's a third person, so you're following your character around. You're here looking at your character running around, that kind of thing. It's not first person where you're looking down the barrel of the gun.
Yeah.
But do you ever remember the movie World War Z?
Yeah, brilliant film.
Those kind of zombies, they're freaked out monsters that just run around in massive hordes. And if you ever look up on YouTube, there's missions that you have to kill hordes, and you're throwing Molotov cocktails and turning around and shooting at them and running and blowing stuff up. It's actually really, and you get to ride around in a little motorbike. It's really cool.
That's completely up your fucking street.
Oh, yeah, it is. Yeah.
That one he told me about way back when we first met, like a year and a bit ago. I did buy it. I played it for a little bit. It was set in Sweden, is it, or Denmark or something?
Sweden, Generation Zero. Yeah.
Yeah, that's it.
It's 1980s in Sweden. It has like the robot apocalypse.
Are you still playing it?
I have. I haven't played it now in the last few months. I've been playing Star Trek Online, and now Days Gone. But I did play it about 5 or 6 months ago.
Yeah, it was pretty good. I kind of played it for a little bit and then stopped playing it.
Yeah, it's hard.
And started replaying FIFA.
I'll admit something. It's hard, and it's harder than what I'm used to. I'm fairly casual when it comes to games. I like them. I think every game I get, I play on easy first to
kind of get used to it. Yeah.
And like that game, I played it on easy, and it was hard. So it's just like, it just goes. I know where my skill levels are. You know what I mean? I'm okay at multiplayer games and things like that once I get into the hang of it. But I mean, if I was to play multiplayer games now for the night, the first half hour would be just me going, "You fucking cheating bastard!" at every person who was killing me, because I'm terrible at it until I warm up. You do need to, like anything, you need to stretch before you play a match.
Exactly. You need to stretch those hands, fingers.
But yeah, that was something I was saying. I got it for free on the PS4, and I've been playing it, and I'm gonna finish it first, and then I'm gonna make some videos for it, because I haven't made a video for YouTube in a long time.
Have you not? Oh, I did watch some of them, in fairness, and then you put up a couple of book reviews as well, didn't you?
I did one or two, but I haven't got back to serious reading in a while either. I have finished one or two books, and I've ordered a few that are coming from America, and it said they should be here by June 12th. So that's good. Yeah.
We didn't give you a year. We give you the date and the month.
They're historical fiction. They're like they're actually sci-fi historical fiction, which is really cool, because you might actually be interested if about reading them. They're called Rally Cry.
Rally Cry.
Yeah, Rally Cry. That when you cry rally. That kind of rally everyone. And basically, it's set during the American Civil War in the 1860s, and this shipload of a regiment of a few thousand Union soldiers from the Union Army of the United States, they pass through a kind of a Bermuda Triangle kind of storm, and they end up on shifting from one planet to another kind of thing. It's just sci-fi. I know I can't remember the mechanics of how they got there. I think it was some kind of portal or dimension shift or something like that. But they end up there anyway, and it turns out that humans are being kept as food for these larger 10-foot creatures that are kind of reptilian-y, and they keep humans as chattel. And there are Russians, there's Romans, and there's a few other different groups from human civilization. So you have Latin-speaking Romans who have been keeping the traditions of Roman society for a couple of thousand years.
Yeah.
Union Army comes in with their muskets, and they bring all their equipment and their know-how, because in those days when you had a regiment of 5,000 men, they were carpenters and builders and engineers that could lay railways and everything. So they'd have all their skills with them, and they brought a supply ship with gunpowder and cannon. They start a rebellion with the humans against the monsters.
These monsters.
So books go on and on and on like that, and it's really cool. And they teach the guys how to make gunpowder, and they teach them how to build railroads and all this kind of thing, and they make rebellions, and it's really cool.
It sounds like it would make a good show, like a TV show or something.
It would actually. I mean, it's Netflix. Here we come.
Yeah. I'd watch that.
Do you ever that South Park episode of where the guys tried to be a superhero franchise and get onto Netflix, and it's like, hello Netflix, you're greenlit. How many episodes do you want?
Oh, I haven't seen that. No,
you haven't seen that one.
I saw the one though where was it they were coming up with movie ideas just with Adam Sandler or something like that, and they were like, "Yes, it's perfect." All the
movie ideas.
Yeah, I think it was an episode of it. I think basically the kids were talking to all these movie execs, and they were like coming up with like nearly the same idea for every movie. They were stupid, and then they were like, "Oh, it stars Adam Sandler." They were like, "Yes, it's perfect." Because all of Adam's, some of his movies are okay, but most of them are fairly.
I think I got the gist of.
Got the gist of.
I'm losing you in and out. I lost nearly everything you said. It's you were talking about. And I know you were saying that the kids all came up with the same movie idea and they were getting rejected until they said Adam Sandler's in the movie. But
yeah, all the movie execs were saying.
You say it is what I'm saying.
Oh, is that better?
Well,
no, you're freezing up.
Yeah, to me it's you freezing, but yeah, I know what you mean. We need to get our second vaccine and then we can do this in person.
Yeah, well, that isn't looking likely anytime soon, in all fairness.
Well, I mean, I was told that I was still getting the second AstraZeneca, but that would be pushed back by another 4 weeks.
Yeah,
so
to 16 weeks instead of the 8 to 12. So, did you get your date yet, though?
No. But if you go 16 weeks in theory from when I got my one, you're talking end of May, June. You're talking about in the middle of June because I got it back in February. So.
Oh yeah, sure. Shit, I did as well. I think I got it a week or so before you.
So
it wasn't long though, in fairness. What'd you say?
Middle of June, you're talking about.
Yeah. No, it'll be a while yet. I was reading today that it said I think it's the Spanish. They're investigating whether they can mix the vaccines.
Yeah, I mean that way. Well, we are getting an extra 1 million doses of
the Pfizer.
So that's pretty good.
Yeah, it is in fairness.
If we can, and if you were really conspiratorial, Q-minded, QAnons of the world, like, let's kill all the old people with the AstraZeneca so we don't have to have such a high pension bill and, social payments to the elderly. It's just, hey, man, you don't know. This could be,
Yeah. Yeah, little lad was getting his last boosters today for the MMR, and I was up in the GPs, I think the same as yours, and they were saying that they do 2 vaccination days a week. So it's completely, they're on shutdown those 2 days for any regular GP appointments. So the backlog is just like crazy. That's the knock-on effect.
My little fella's only a few months younger than yours, so actually his boosters for the MMRs is actually June, so he'll be getting the same ones as you, just in the start of June.
Give it 2 weeks, 2 weeks to kick in, and you might, you might have a high temperature, and that. It took our wee lad 2 weeks to kind of see any side effects.
Kevin,
I'm glad to get it.
Is mid-transport right now. I think he's going to the kitchen. Are you gone to the kitchen?
I'm in the kitchen. Not that you noticed because I have my background filter on.
No. You'll always find him in the kitchen at parties.
So what did you think of
your background?
That screenshot I sent you? What do you think of that screenshot I sent you today about the Mars helicopter?
Oh, it's awesome. I saw some of the pictures when they first originally came out, so I wasn't unfamiliar with the story. They're brilliant. Yeah. I mean, it's really cool that we have a remote controlled fucking robot that's flying
on Mars. Yeah, it's fucking awesome.
They timed it for the anniversary of the Wright brothers.
Oh wow!
It's in and around at that time.
Yeah, that's pretty cool actually. Jesus, that's amazing. Wow, fucking hell. Yeah,
It's
I was when I saw it, I thought it was taking the piss, but then I read it and I was just like, Jesus. And then you kind of realize what it actually is, and then it's like, wow, the first time something has ever flown on another planet.
yeah,
Like,
dude, we've
yeah,
colonized another planet with robots. You
yeah,
know, you know,
mind blown.
yeah. You know,
Yeah,
we're curing diseases, colonizing planets with fucking robots. I mean, it's like, yeah, why not?
we're doing these things.
Yeah,
It's happening. We just need to find these asteroids now that have lots and lots of minerals and gold deposits and oil deposits on it, and drill them and bring them back. That's the next thing.
well, what we really need is what we really need is helium-3.
Helium-3. What does that do?
Helium-3 apparently is like it's the premise of. Do you ever see the movie Iron Sky with the Nazis who live on the dark side?
I know of it. Yeah.
Well, helium-3 is actually a real thing. It's meant to be like this. If you had a you know Coca-Cola bottle filled with helium-3, it could power the continental United States for about a year. Do you know what I mean?
Wow.
It's that kind of like powerful stuff. So, and
Yeah.
apparently it's
Jesus.
on the moon, and it's on asteroids, and yeah.
Because there is an asteroid belt, isn't there, after you go out from Mars?
Kuiper belt. No, the Kuiper belt is the outside asteroid belt. There is an inner
There's an
ring.
inner one, though.
There's
Yeah.
outer. Yeah. Uh,
Yeah. Yeah.
if
I'm
you've
just not sure exactly what.
Yeah, if you've ever watched The Expanse, that's what it's all about.
Yeah. That's where they are. Yeah. I've never watched it now, in fairness, but I know I've seen the pictures. I've seen a couple of clips of it, and you can see them in it. So,
Yeah, and it's
um,
basically the
hopefully, it just
premise.
wouldn't be like the Bruce Willis Armageddon movie.
But the premise of The Expanse is that people live on the larger asteroids. They've actually hollowed them out
Yeah,
and it's cities in them. You know what I mean? Things like that.
which
And
is really cool. It's,
and there's
create an artificial.
yeah, and there's three groups. There's Earth, which is under the control of the United Nations. There's Mars, which has declared itself an independent sovereign nation, no longer a colony of Earth. And then there's the people stuck in the middle, which are the Belters, the
Mhm.
Belters, who are literally kind of like they're portrayed as the third world, the developing, the poor exploited people who dig out the
Yeah,
resources like you would in South America or Africa or whatever, like there is today, that kind
yeah,
of thing. And they're eco terrorists who hate both groups, and they hate the Martians, and they hate the Earthers, and
the Earthers. Yeah, yeah. Buckle to the knuckle.
and it's
The
funny.
Belters.
One of the terrorists is being interrogated, and you're one of the characters. You've grown up on the belt all your life, haven't you? And he's just looking at her, and she goes, "You've never experienced real gravity before." And she turns off the gravity generator. And she says, "You've never experienced 1G before. Your bones and your skeleton have not developed the strength to withstand it." And you just see him go, and you can hear his bones breaking as he gets returned to Earth's gravity, just buckling under it, like
Buckle under. Yeah.
the density of his bones. If he spent 30 years living at half a G, or
Yeah.
point G,
More
he'd never.
completely crushed, like
Yeah,
1G.
because
That's
if I weigh 100 kilos at 1G, at point 3 of a G, I'm going to be bouncing around like I'm only 30 kilos. You know what I mean?
exactly.
And my
Yeah.
body will be able to handle the weight of it. So yeah,
Yeah.
pretty cool.
Jesus. It is pretty cool. Yeah.
You done any research? Have you got any news for me?
Do I have any news?
Loyal viewers are so used to Kevin pulling out a piece of paper
I
with like
know. I
everything.
know. Unfortunately, I don't have pieces of paper. No, all is quiet, but just I finished my Marvel movie marathon. Um, Finished that for the second time. I'm watching the Falcon and the Winter Soldier. I don't. You're not mad into the Marvel movies, so you won't know of them. They're spin-offs shows
I,
based after the movies.
yeah. You're coming in and out again a little bit. It's kind of freezing a little bit. Yeah, the video image is gone, but I can still hear you. Yeah, I know the Winter Soldier. That was in the Captain America movies, and I know the Falcon. I don't know much about the universe. I've seen the movies once, basically. I've watched most of them once. Like, that's about it. Like, and I was half interested in them, but I don't have Disney Plus, so I haven't been watching it. I did watch when I had Disney Plus access to it for a while, but the person that gave me their account ended their year contract, so I don't have it anymore. But I did watch some story and things like that. But yeah, I've heard it's supposed to be very good.
It is. No, it's pretty good. And then WandaVision was before that, which was about the Scarlet Witch and Vision. That was also very good. Yeah. Aside from that, I have just work. No news. All is quiet. The house is going good though. I've sent you pictures.
Pictures, yeah.
The floor got poured there Friday, so.
Can I ask, in the picture you showed me, what were all the cables that were on the ground?
Underfloor heating.
Underfloor heating. I was thinking it was either that or I was like, that's an awful lot of electric. Because I showed it to one of our colleagues and they were like, wow, are they electricity cables? And I was like, no, it can't be that much. And especially the pattern as well looked like it was, it was coiled. It looked like a
all underfloor heating. So.
But no, that's pretty cool. I was just saying you don't have any news and no cheese, so like you're gonna have
no cheese. I have a kettle.
You have easy things in the fridge.
I haven't even I used to be mad into me cooking and trying new things and stuff, but just I think at the last few weeks, very lazy, just doing the bog standard same stuff. Omelets. Pad Thai is my specialty, but I'm a breeze doing that. Just nothing exciting at the minute. Just the house. It's just purely because everything is kind of gearing toward the house and baby and stuff, and it's and the new job and that. So it's kind of just go slow, bud. It's.
I mean, but the thing is, barbecue season is coming.
It is.
And you have a nice garden at your house.
Yeah. What, the current house we're in?
And yeah, well, it's decent.
It's okay. No, it's lovely. I just need to trim back the bushes a wee bit and pick up some of the dog poop. But there's potential. Oh no, a couple of summers ago, I had a place looking lovely, and we had barbecue, which Jason was at, and it was lovely. It was really nice. But no, hopefully the weather picks up. The weather hasn't been too bad though, in fairness.
But when we're all vaccinated, we can have a barbecue and a beer, and and the good weather will be there.
Yeah, it will be. There's lots to look forward to. Yeah.
Irish summer and piss rain the entire time, of June and July.
Yeah. Look, it could very easily happen. It just. Because we've had good weather the last few weeks. There was a few days there a week or so ago where it was lovely. It was really warm. But I think lately it's kind of got a bit colder, but at least it's dry. I think that's the main thing. I don't mind the cold as long as it's dry.
At the time of recording of this, it's because it's a Monday we're doing it on. By the weekend of this week, it will be quite nice. The weather's supposed to be 15 degrees and nice and dry. Yeah. By the weekend it's supposed to be nice and bright, especially where you are, because you live near my parents. That's very nice. I was gonna because this is a chocolate or poop podcast. It wouldn't be be us without a piece of news that is just oh my god. I kept it as the ace in the hole in case you were on. There's a pun in there. I kept it as the ace in the hole in case you didn't come up with anything. So I was just right. Even if it did rain all of June and July for us and ruin our summer, that's okay. You think you're having a bad day, but then you have to remember there is a genuine news story that some doctors in Italy had to invent a surgical device to remove a 23-inch dildo from a man's anus.
Things are bad, but they're not that bad.
Like I said, that was my ace in the hole.
Literally. Oh my God. Jesus Christ.
What the fuck was he doing?
And it was the Pope.
It was the Pope.
Oh, sorry. I just have to. Just have to. Oh God. What'd you say?
The Holy Ghost.
Holy Ghost. Oh, got movement. The Holy Ghost. You can feel it. The Pope did. Oh.
You bastard. But there you go. Yeah. So if you're ever having a bad day, just remember that. That's brilliant. Oh, Kevin, you're frozen. On Podbean, I'm going to keep talking because I'm pretty sure on the video you might not be able to see or hear me. Oh no, lost Kevin. But yeah, honest to God, doctors had to invent a new surgical device.
Technique to
Oh,
remove a giant dildo.
could you hear me the entire time?
Yep. And
Yeah,
see ya.
we're frozen like an insane. Like, I thought it was in the middle of it. Yeah, it was just like Yeah, I can see you still moving. The image is actually flickering, so it's not like you're not moving. That was brilliant. That was my good news. My good news.
Will we try for the next episode to meet up?
We can try for the next one to meet up. We're both got our
Even,
door. Yeah.
even if it's not like in a place that we used to record, if you know what I mean. We can do what we used to do because
Yeah.
we can travel within the county as much as we want. So,
Yeah.
we can meet up.
We can organize something. It'll have to be a weekend because they're the only 2 days I have off anymore. All of the other 5 are I've used them up. So no more
Unless you,
3 days.
unless you want to do an evening like we used to do.
Yeah, we could do an evening. Yeah, can organize that somewhere. And like I said, it's fine because we can travel to anywhere within
Exactly. Yeah.
because we both work in the same geographical area. It's fine.
It is. It's handy. Yeah. I was thinking I could meet you somewhere on the way home one of the evenings.
Well, to be honest with you, when I go from where we used to work on the motorway back to where I live now, or to where I live, it takes me say about 40 minutes to get home.
Yeah.
I bypass where you are to go on to the next town, which is where I am now. So I can get off the motorway on that exit instead of my one, like you know what I mean.
Mm.
And then
Yeah.
the secondary road home. So it's not a big deal.
It's not a big deal. Okay, we'll figure something out. Absolutely. Yeah, I must be more prepared now for the next one and come up with a bit more content.
Well, the thing about it is even if we had to do a Skype meeting, we should arrange that we buy little, two particular types of. Well, I'll buy a beer and you buy something to eat, and we can talk about why you like, these kind of. Because we never got to finish our salami meat sausage one.
No, we didn't. Okay, I'll get the salami. You get the beer. I might get a little bit of cheese as well.
Ooh, we did do the one with the cheese. We did the finer things in life. I know. Do you know what? We'll do the finer things in life in person because that all that matters.
Perfect. Okay. All right. I'll get some salami.
Yeah. That'll be like episode. We'll save that for episode 20. Yeah, the big 2-0.
Perfect. So you're not getting beer for the next one then?
No, because I'll meet you after work some evening.
Yeah.
That'll be. There you go. That'll be 17, our first date.
Oh.
16 is that little awkward romance where you're talking to each other and texting each other all the time. 17 is like, fingering.
Your car or mine?
Both. I'll reach in through the window.
My fingers are very long. Oh God! Right. On that note, on that gravy train. Yeah. Right. Look, it's been lovely. Another episode of the Chocolate or Poo podcast, everybody. Any thoughts on how it went? Are you happy with it?
I'm delighted with it because, and I'm going to leave you with this, that because they had to invent a new surgical instrument to remove that dildo, there's actually an educational video watching it be removed. So there you go. There's something Google.
You can YouTube for all our poopers. God.
In your mind. That's all I'll say to you.
Yeah. All right, guys. It's been another episode, so don't forget to flush. We didn't say it the last time. We didn't say it last time.
Yeah, you're right. We forgot to flush the last time.
The
Jesus.
flush.
I believe we left a floater. Fuck.
Oh God. I only ever did that in the tub. Right. Goodbye, dear friend. Chat to you later. Ready?